guys. Today we're going to look at a question that is currently rising in concern. Should I start a garden? Personally, I believe that everyone who is able to should have a small crop of basics, necessities, or staples that you use frequently. With rising costs of groceries, learning these skills now could help you save a pretty penny down the road. Another added benefit is knowing exactly where your food comes from and what is going in or on it. Not having to buy organic or try to ensure you or your family are avoiding the chemicals that industrial farming relies on, such as glyphosate, trazicide, and others. You know exactly how fresh that tomato is. I also find it to be very relaxing and therapeutic. It's a slow process that teaches patience, but is also amazingly rewarding to watch your first seeds sprout, grow and shed their water leaves, and when flowers or buds appear, it's almost enough to inspire a little happy dance. These are the 3 reasons that I believe everyone who can start a garden should start a garden. If you agree with me, I'll hop right on to the next question that comes up. How can I start to garden? I'm hoping over the course of these videos I can help people understand that everyone can start a garden. However, I want it said, I am not a farmer, botanist, nursery worker. Heck, I don't even work at the garden center in Walmart. Just a dad with a hobby. I'm in no means an expert. If I say something incorrect, please feel free to offer the correct information in the comments below. Growing your own food is surprisingly easy. Growing specific plants can be difficult. So the first step is determining what you want to grow. Remember to manage your expectations and consider your growing space. You won't grow corn very well in a window box, but herbs and spices will flourish. Don't worry, you can grow corn in a 5-gallon bucket on the floor. Heck, throw a tarp down and you can have an indoor garden plot. You don't need a lot of space to learn the basic skills, and you will learn individualized skills as you adapt to your space restrictions. Raising plants is much like raising anything else. There are some general guidelines to be followed: food, water, sunlight, etc. But at the end of the day, your situation is your situation. And some things might work for others that don't work for you, and that's okay. Necessity is the mother of invention. But let's start with those basics, shall we? Topping the list, water. Plants need water, but they can go longer without it than you think. But that also comes in stages. Sprouting seeds should be kept moist, at least until they break the surface. Water them about once a day. Sprouted seeds should be and can be dialed back to keeping the top inch of soil damp. In my experience, it's very easy to overwater them, causing root rot and the plants to die back. Water them once every 2 to 3 days, depending on climate. But no established plant should get watered every day unless you're specifically measuring the amounts given. And if you're doing that, I don't think my videos will be very much help to you. I don't want to talk about hydroponics. I'm not a botany science major or a chemist. Dirt. Not as essential as water, surprisingly. If you don't believe me, ask those potatoes you forgot about. Dirt is simple. It's everywhere, and you don't really need any special kind to grow stuff. Plants adapt, and as long as there are nutrients and water, they will grow in just about anything. I use cheap topsoil and manure from Lowe's, but you can just as easily take a bucket and a shovel to the outside and get dirt. You don't need to use that expensive Miracle Grow tomato soil. Stuff from your backyard or your local park will also grow them. Light. Probably the easiest on the list to cover. Do you have electricity? Do you have a window? Problem solved. The amount of light varies per plant, but it's as simple as making your plant as exposed to the sun or a similar light. LED grow panels are becoming very affordable for indoor gardening. However, if you are growing food to pinch pennies, the cost of these can put them out of reach. So you'll have to settle for manual labor, moving plants outside to get sun. Or making sure they're by a window. If you're growing outside already, then light isn't as much of a problem as heat and overexposure can be. To avoid this, try planting in areas of your yard that get shade for at least a few hours during the late afternoon, or installing a shade screen or mesh. Plants. The whole purpose. I believe you should buy them when, where, and how you can afford to. It's as simple as that. If you didn't have any luck sprouting from seeds, it's okay to buy that cucumber plant from Walmart. You'll still learn a lot from the plant and get the produce you were hoping for. I have both direct sown plants and store-bought plants. If you can, and it's a big if, buy from a local nursery to support small business. But if you can't afford that, then get the ones on sale from Home Depot. Containers. Once again, another show of resilience from plants. They don't care what you grow them in. However, there are a few things you should avoid. Pressboard or particle board is one. These aren't great for containers for two reasons. They tend to swell and fall apart with water, and that is due to the second reason. The glue and chemicals used to hold the sawdust or wood chips together can leach into the soil and thus into your plant. The second container you should try to avoid is cardboard containers. Cardboard containers for any permanent plant are a bad idea, for fairly obvious reasons. It's meant to break down, so it does. The best container by far is the ground. But if you aren't allowed to dig holes in the yard due to a lease agreement or something, then you'll have to make do. But you can use just about anything. Buckets, old cans, tomato sauce jars, egg cartons. You're only really limited by your imagination. And like I said earlier, if you don't want to do a container, just get a tarp, throw it down, throw soil on top of it. You'll be amazed. Hopefully, this video helps everyone understand that having a garden isn't out of their reach. If you have any suggestions for topics or questions you would like answered, please leave them in the comments below. My upcoming videos will go over the basics individually and how to address them, including some real-life solutions that I use in my garden. For those of you watching this video to the end, starting a garden is a wonderful hobby, but a persistently growing necessity. Being self-reliant isn't just about making a yummy salad. It's a much-needed but forgotten way of life that allowed our forefathers to the ability to stand up and cast aside reliance on those who would seek to control them. Gardening is something that everyone must do in some way, or at least be able to do, in order to survive and thrive. It's not just your right to produce your own food, it's our duty to make sure these skills aren't entirely forgotten.